just like idiots, and just like little kids, we were loving for the fun of it. We were loving for the fun of it. Just like idiots, just like little kids, just like idiots, just like little
Well, dreams, they feel real while we're in them, right? It's only when we wake up that we realize something was actually strange. Let me ask you a question. You never really remember the beginning of a dream, do you? You always wind up right in the middle of what's going on.
I guess, yeah.
So how did we end up here?
Well, we just came from the,
Think about it, Ariadne. How did you get here? Where are you right now?
We're dreaming?
You're actually in the middle of the workshop right now, sleeping. This is your first lesson in shared dreaming. Stay calm.
Welcome to the Real Flat Earth Friday. How are you doing this evening, brother?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here tonight. We got a lot to cover.
Yeah, so what are we going to be going through tonight? I know that we're going to be going through Jaren's 2 nickels. What else are we going to be covering?
So we've got this eclipse taking place tomorrow morning. We've also got this crazy, I don't know if you guys have been tuning in and watching what's going on in the mainstream media, but we've got this crazy new pyramid narrative being thrown out there. And again, we are going to smash it to smithereens.
Nonsense. I haven't even looked into it. I've seen that it was there. We'll touch on it tonight. But we know the truth about the pyramids. So that you put out the video how many years ago showing just what a hoax, a Freemason sandcastle they are.
2017.
Yeah. So we've got that. We've got the eclipse. We've got curvature. So tonight we're going to be showing everybody how geometric curvature versus formula curvature. So everybody's heard the 8 inches per mile squared. It's wrong. It's badly wrong. And the only way to actually get these measurements for real is doing them geometrically with 3D CAD software. So that is what we're going to be doing tonight. We're going to be showing everybody the errors in the 8 inches per mile squared, the errors that Jaren's making by saying 2 nickels in 660 feet. It's absurd. It's bad. When he says he doesn't lie, he's either lying or he's really stupid. So I think he's lying.
So, it's great, everybody that's tuning in here. Thank you to each and every one of you that have tuned in. We hope tonight that we can share information and truth that you can take and look into and try to come to your own conclusions on. But what we can guarantee is that we are super excited. We were excited when Jaren Campanella from the channel Jeranism finally started to tell the truth. We have been saying for over 8 years now, Jason and I both separately showed Jaren that everything that he was saying was a lie over 8 years ago, not even knowing each other, Jason and I. So we've been saying that Jaren has been a globe earther pretending to be a flat earther to make flat earthers look stupid. And we've been saying this for 8 years. And finally, everything that we've been saying has come true. Jaren is now flipped back to his original understanding. He's now the flat earth debunker, quote unquote. And what he's actually doing is making globe earthers look stupid. He's doing the same thing that he did as a flat earther, putting out dismiss and malinformation. He's now doing it trying to support and prop up a flying wet dirtball.
Jaren's the kid that nobody wants to have on their team because having him on your team means that you're going to lose.
Yeah, he just kicks it in his own net all the time.
As a flat earther, everything that came out of his mouth made flat earthers look stupid. So now finally that he's a globe earther, everything that comes out of his mouth is making globers look stupid. So
nothing's changed. He's literally doing the same stupid things that he did as a flat earther. He's now doing as a globe earther, right? Nobody's checking his math. No one's, well, so I think we got one comment where somebody said it didn't add up, but like, how can these supposed geniuses like Fight the Flat Earth and MC Toon and Simon Dan, how are none of them saying, hey, wait a minute, Jaren, you're wrong here. Listen, there's more than an 1/8 of an inch curvature in 660 feet or in a mile, right? It's getting to the point now where he's just making up asinine things. And, you know, everybody tuning in right now, it is just insane. When you hear the energy that comes from Jaren Campanella, it is just beyond toxic, putrid, just whining, victimhood, self-shame. He's taken the title as the ultimate whining shame, just absolute ludicrous. Are we down? I don't understand what's going on. Yeah, we might have dropped for a second, but the way that he's carrying on, I don't think it's hard for anybody else to see that he's just got this most toxic energy. He's quitting supposedly, right?
Yeah, just seeing a couple warnings here with YouTube, but looks like we're good. Yeah, so he was just live. He went live at 5 o'clock our time, and he was saying that he's quitting. So we'll see whether or not he makes himself a liar again.
Got to get a job, right? He's got to get a job.
I hope that this is at least one time that he's not lying, right?
Yeah, we really hope he's telling the truth this time. But it's hilarious, and I think everyone, you should be able to see, like, how many times is he going to play the victim? Like, he's literally going around showing people the information that we showed him 8 years ago and saying that flat earthers are disowning him because he's telling them. And it's literally what he did to Jason and I. I mean, it's hilarious. Or maybe he actually believes the things that we say now, Jason. I don't know. We have to leave that up to Jerry.
Yeah, we'll have to hear from him. Maybe he'll have us on his stream again, right? No, he's done. He's quitting.
He's quitting, right? He's going to move on. He's got to get a job. He says he didn't get paid enough or whatever for what he did because it was telling the truth, right?
Back to the drugstore.
Yeah, selling the pharmaceuticals. Or his bookstore. No, he said he was an antiquer. He went to antiques and then sold that stuff, right? That's what he said his job was when we asked him.
All right, so is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, let's
get into some of the stuff that we're... All right, let's get into it. And what are we going to start off with? The partial solar eclipse that's taking place in 7 hours, 29 minutes.
In Quebec.
And 23 seconds.
Well, it starts then. Totality obviously isn't then, but that's the beginning.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. This is the area on a flat map right here that's being affected. And this is the way they project it to a globe. All this can be shown to not work on the globe projection. So looking at it on a flat map like this is where you're going to have the greatest partial eclipse in this area of Quebec right here. But there's a lot of people that are going to see some pretty cool stuff. So the partial eclipse just takes a bite out of the sun. The moon takes a bite out of it. And you can see from all these different locations here, the way the bite is going to hit on the sun. So the devil horns eclipse, when you see a partial eclipse like this, the devil horns like this is when you have the top part of the sun being eclipsed and you have what looks like horns coming out of the water. And And so you can see that, Canada really gets the premier show right here. In Quebec, you get the full crescent here, the biggest amount of coverage of the sun. And so Canada's got the big show. We're going to be looking at Stellarium. But you can see some other places that get pretty good shows. I mean, Finland is going to have some of this. France is going to have some of this. Germany gets some of it. Iceland definitely has got devil horns possibilities here. Some other places, Norway gets in on it. Russia gets in on it. I don't know where St. Pierre and this place is. They get in on it for sure. Must be close to Canada. United States. If you're out east, you're going to get in on it. Seeing these devil horns. So what's so special about this? Well, the partial eclipse we've been pointing out, you can actually see that the moon is like not showing there. So all you have to do is type into Google partial solar eclipse and start scrolling through the images. And some of these things are just the greatest proof that we're in a virtual reality, because we talk about clouds behind the sun. And so here's a picture where you can clearly see that there are clouds in front of and behind the sun. But where the eclipse is taking place, you can actually see the clouds that are behind the sun through this area right here. And this is not an unusual occurrence at all. You can just start scrolling through these images and you get to see it over and over and over again. So we really encourage those of y'all that have cameras that are on the eastern coast of Canada, those other places that we just talked about, to go out and film this partial eclipse and see if you can capture some of this, because it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
It's a beautiful phenomena. All these are signs that were created by the Creator for us to watch and to behold and to be excited about too. It's fun to see, and behold the creation, as you said. So what ends up happening here for people that are tuning in, maybe next week we might go more into depth on some different situations that are taking place in the flat earth community, but having clouds in front of and behind these different luminaries takes away anybody's ability to state that there's a projection, that the sun is like coming from outside of a dome or anything like that. And we're going to be showing a little bit more in depth of to what these are actually giving us of actual verifiable evidence. And it's pretty incredible that you're in a supernatural realm that was created like this. And I'm excited for that. We'll see how things shape up. I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but we might have a guest on and we might be going through a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, that'd be great. We're trying to get along and talk to more and more people. But look at these. I mean, this is just evidence after evidence after evidence. You can go through and do this type of search yourself, everybody, or you can go out there and start snapping pictures, because once you see this kind of stuff for yourself and you film it and you see, oh, okay, these suns are being locally illuminated. I mean, the clouds are being locally illuminated by the sun right here. You have part of the sun being eclipsed here, and then it's transparent. It's transparent. You can see right through. And so that's why we talk about a no moon day, where so much of the world, they count new moons from no moons, and that's pretty ridiculous. But so here's the partial eclipse that's going to be taking place, and let's see now how much time has passed. 7 hours 23 minutes. And let's go ahead and jump into the True Hebrew calendar here quick, because we are going to be doing something different than the rest of the world here. So 3/29/2025, we got the partial solar eclipse that is really focused in the Quebec area. And then so much of the world is going to be going with the 30th being Nissan 1. In fact, we might be the only people in the world that say that this is the first day of the 13th month. So with a true Hebrew calendar, you have to actually pay attention to where the sun is, which constellation is it in. And if we bring up Stellarium here and take a look at this eclipse that's going to be taking place. So right now we're off this like New Brunswick, Quebec area right here. And let's go ahead and rewind our sun. Here is the partial eclipse in rewind. And you'll see that if we zoom in here, this is when they talk about the devil horns of a partial eclipse. All right, when you see the sun rising, the eclipse is just lined up in a way that as it comes out of the water, it's going to look like the devil horns, right?
Oh,
and and this is the transparent area where if you have clouds in front of and behind, you'll see the clouds behind through this section of the sun right here.
Again,
right?
like it doesn't have to be devil horns. It could be longhorns. It could be bull, ram, different types of animals. There's just everything always has to get azazeled. You know what? Sometimes it drives me a little nuts, but whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. So
the creator didn't make it to look like devil horns.
Where is the sun right here?
That's right there behind the moon.
It is in the constellation of Pisces.
Oh, it's unfortunately the beginning of the year. Instructed Moses, Yahweh told him that thou shalt keep the head of the year with the sun in the constellation of the ram or the lamb, which is Aries, to signify the beginning of every year, to remember when we were brought out of Egypt and delivered into the promised land. 40 years after wandering the wilderness for disobeying, obviously, but
yeah. So if we do a quick Google search here, when is Passover 2025? Everybody's going to be telling you April 12th.
Yeah.
Evening of April 12th.
So let's go there and see if the other thing is crazy too. You got to watch these people. They don't even keep the festivals during full moons. They don't have it during the correct times. And then the one festival where it's not during a full moon, they go and they put it on the full moon. It just gets just out of hand if you don't watch these people. I mean, you really got to pay attention to them. But so here what we can see is, so that second band of Pisces and that first band, you can look at that as the start and finish line of the sun's race that David outlined, that he runneth his race from one end of heaven to the other. Well, here it is, right? The heaven is a circular shape of constellations that wrap around each observer. That's the heavens. And the sun actually does a 360-degree circuit through that. And when it crosses past this fish line here, the band of Pisces, it then starts the new year again.
Mm-hmm. So this is when the rest of the world is going to act like it's Passover, but the sun's still in Pisces. So if we go back to the calendar here, you'll see we've added the 13th month as instructed to Moses to do. And so our New Year's, Nisan 1, is going to be the new moon sighting of April 28th.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's show everybody that real quick.
And so, and when we get finished this, we are going to talk about the precession of the equinox too.
All right. So April 28th, we have the sun in the Lamb. Right now we're looking east. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn around. We're going to be facing west. Let's run the day through. Oops, that was a little too fast. All right. So the sun is going down here in Aries, the Lamb. This is April 28th. And sun goes down. And our sky glow fades away.
And there's the new moon right there.
And
well, we're going to try to sight it. So that's going to be 428.
428 right there. Sky's gone dark. So this will be a new moon sighting, at least for us here, this far west. So this right here is the true Nisan 1 on the 28th, which makes the 14th day of the first month, which is Passover, May 11th at sundown. So let's go ahead and move up to that day.
Again, so the sun needs to be in the constellation of Aries when celebrating Passover.
Bring the sun back up.
And the lamb sign that was sacrificed in the month of Aries as they were delivered out of Egypt.
And you can see here that the sun is towards the end of the first month, but these are the borderlines between the constellations, and the sun is still in Aries.
Clearly.
So we will be going with Passover on May 11th.
And so
nobody else is going to be doing that.
So this is nothing new. Okay. So the creator created everything and he put us in here, but he didn't want us to use cheat codes. Okay. That's not what this is about. So having a metonic cycle where you just say, well, we mathematically figured out that if we have these shekels here and these shekels here, we'll all of a sudden be even because they just add a 13th month arbitrarily, mathematically, to keep in line with the seasons. So what ends up happening is through the precession of the equinox, we can actually date how many thousands of years that gone by. You've got so many people out here that are going around saying that we're in the year 100 or 100 BC or 1000 BC, and they're saying that they can't decipher when they are, but you actually can through the precession of the equinox. So Josephus was a very famous man who wrote. He wrote about this, and he wrote about how they were having to calculate not having the Passover kept in the bull at their time, because actually what's taking place is the sun is moving backwards through the zodiac sign, not forwards as you would expect, but it's moving backwards through the different speeds, which I like to call the sky DJ effect, where you have to mix together different tracks or songs, because it is songs that the pictures in the sky sing. Their sound goes out throughout all of the earth, and yet no one can hear their sound, but everybody can see them. And what we know is that we can actually understand that. So yes, in a couple thousand years or in 1,000 years from now, Passover is going to be celebrated in the summertime, right? That's the way that we can actually calculate how this is taking place. But we were commanded to keep the Passover in the sign of the Lamb. And that's what we're going to do. And until the creator or he sends his son and they literally tell us, Jason, move ye the beginning of the year to the sign of the fish. And then we will. And we will, right? It's going to take some supernatural seriousness, though, for that to take place. So all you have to do is a little bit of research. And that's the thing. We were put into this creation to investigate it, to be curious. My whole life, and all of you on the other side of the screen, the first thing you did when you were born into this reality was you started investigating and recognizing patterns. And that's what we're here to do. So Jason and I, it's our passion. And we like to try to figure things out. And we like to follow what the scriptures say. And Jason's figured out this year. So May 11th, right? The 5th month of the Gregorian year, we'll be actually celebrating the 14th day, right, of the first month. And not only is it the time of the Passover, it's also the time that Christ was crucified. And it's also the time that Adam died. All aligned. And so
lots of parallels. We're going to
keep it correct. We're going to do our best. And like I said, until we get another tablet from the heavens telling us, move it to the sign of the fish or move it to the sign of the bull, raw, right? We'll wait until that. But hope everybody tuning in has a good understanding as to why and where we put the beginning of the year.
All right. Well, anything else regarding the partial solar eclipse and calendar?
No, I'm ready to go. I hope everybody in Quebec and Eastern America and Western England and Greenland and Iceland are ready to witness the beautiful sign in the heavens. So there's another interesting sign before we go to that, Jason. The Blaze Star. It's the link next to that one you're about to click on, 2 over. Yeah, just touch on this before we head into Jesuit Jeranism, or we're going to take a song break. If you want to introduce this, this looks pretty interesting.
Yeah, Blaze Star, how to prepare for the biggest sky event for 79 years.
Wow, it sounds kind of prophetic, right? Isn't 80 years a generation?
Yeah, it is. If you're strong.
Yeah.
70 if you're average. Are you ready for the Blaze Star to erupt? When T Coronae Borealis, a dim star in the constellation Corona Borealis, goes nova and becomes visible to the naked eye for a few weeks, it will be all over the media. You'll read terrible headlines like "New Star Lights Up Night Sky," written by desk-bound reporters who know nothing about stargazing. Almost everyone on the planet, not a planet, will be taking a peek and mostly getting completely lost and confused. However, if you get organized, do a little homework, and most importantly, get outside and look up, soon you'll be with a chance of getting much more from a true once-in-a-lifetime celestial event. You can be among the few who can say you saw, appreciated, and understood how lucky you were to witness such a rare event. Here's everything you need to know to prepare for the Blaze Star. Nicknamed the Blaze Star, it's a binary system, a star system like the solar system, but with 2 stars, in which one explodes every 80 years. So
What?
every 80 years, a star explodes, like it's on a timer, right?
Yeah, that just happens by just natural selection of evolution, like a tornado sweeps through a junkyard and we have a fully functioning 747 at the end of it. This star just happens to pop off every 80 years perfectly. Gee, that sounds like it was created to do that.
Can you imagine if like a tree were to explode every time it turned 80?
We're going to get Jaron on here. He's going to tell us this is proof of a globe.
Binary stars explode all the time in cosmic time. Explosions could be multiple centuries apart, even more. In one average human lifetime, there is only one binary star system that does so, and that's the Blaze Star. So it could explode as soon as Thursday, March 27th. Remember, they say that this light has to travel for like thousands of light years. So they would have to have like...
The star's already long gone. It's dead. It's dim. We're just seeing thousands here, right?
Yeah.
But every 80 years, it reborn and then dies again like a phoenix rising from the ashes, right? Kind of parabolic to the reincarnation nation.
This is what astronomers call a nova, a new star that results from a rare stellar eruption.
Thought nova was a decent car, but hey. So that's it. Everybody get ready for the nova, the T Coronis crown star that explodes every 80 years, supposedly. We'll be watching for that. Are we doing a sound break or are we going straight into Jezzy Jerry? I know we got this Jezzy Jerry, then we're going to go into the Egyptian stuff last, right? Don't everybody go away. We've got so much planned. I mean, and Jaron, you are an absolute liar. This song is for you. And that brand new song was Liar, performed by In Color.
Absolutely. Liar. He's a liar. Well, yeah, we're going to get into Jaron, the liar here. We've got some timestamps from a stream that he did March 21st, right? Like the equinox. And so he says some things here. He's always promoting this idea that Earth's so big that you wouldn't be able to see the curvature, and you could just put Home Depot after Home Depot and everything would be flat and curved at the same time.
What?
And he's flat and curved at the same time. And he's promoting this 2 nickels thing, which is quite the absurdity. So I'm going to start playing some of this here. Just remember, Jaron's vulgar, he's foul, and bad language, everything. But stop me whenever you want here, brother.
Still zooming in. Still zooming in. We're still zooming in. Still zooming in. And we get to a Home Depot starting at this apex here. Okay?
Home Depot.
If you want to find the size of a person, this guy's 6 foot tall. This is a spa. Guess what? The water lies flat and level. Globe evidence. Not
Hold
flat.
on, pause it. You continue to hear Jaron. He's been saying this for a while, long before he quit Flat Earth. He continues to say water lies flat. And we the very first time I heard it come out of his mouth, I said, hey, wait a minute. Water at rest is level and can be used to create level buildings. That's how we build. We use water levels, right?
He's just got to squeak in lies. And then you might have missed it. Let's hear what he says. It's a globe proof. Listen to him say this.
Okay? If you want to find the size of a person, this guy's 6 foot tall. This is a spa. Guess what? The water lies flat and level. Globe evidence, not flat.
What?
Globe evidence.
Wow.
Water lies flat and level.
This is an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Guess what? It's level and flat on the top. Why? Globe evidence, not flat.
Globe evidence. Not flat.
Okay, you can look at buildings or the Burj Khalifa here. Okay, there you go. It's the size of these buildings, the size of the pyramids. All these buildings, if they were built side by side like this, would be built level and flat. That's it. You don't need to take it into account at all. These people can't get that. And I get it. I didn't get it either. But once you realize it, then shut the fuck up. Okay? After we get past these 3 Home Depots, remember, if we built these Home Depots, we would use a level. We'd use a water level. It's not evidence that the Earth is flat.
Water levels debunk a curved Earth.
It's evidence that the Earth is so big that everywhere you're at, you can take as flat. Sure. Put a level in this one. It's still levels. It's still level. Put a level in this one. It's still level. Now, if you're not smart enough to grasp this next thing, it's on you. If we continued building Home Depots for as many as we could, I believe the number is around 400,000. If we built 400,000 Home Depots side by side by side by side, every one of them would show level. Do you understand? But there's no straight lines on curved Earth. Yes, there is. We just measured it. It's level. Everywhere we are is level.
So, pause it. So, Jaron is forgetting that what would happen is if you were to actually do the 3-mile water level experiment where you ran a tube of water and you held it up 3 feet on the one side and you ran it 3 miles and held it up 3 feet on the other side, you are not going to have any variation. It's not going to be 6 pennies or 6 nickels short on the right side. It's going to be 3 feet level. And the globe earthers, they know this. And what they say is that it's level to the center of the Earth. Therefore, the altitude or the height above the surface of the Earth will remain level while curving, right? That is what they say, correct, Jason?
Yeah.
So Jaron's throwing that out the window, and he's saying, no, you actually will have over, so I guess he's saying 1 mile or 660 feet. See, everything he does is confusing. CIA tactics. What they do is they say a bunch of retarded, like the chicken flies over the yellow house swiftly, and then they'll say Earth is a sphere right after that, so that you fall into his programming. So he's saying that there's only the width of 2 nickels. Now, I thought he was saying standing up, But so
No.
he's claiming 2 nickels flat. So a nickel is roughly a 1/16 of an inch, right? So
About.
in 660 feet, you have the width of 1/8 of an inch. So if you multiply that by 8, which is an inch or a foot, 12 inches, right? If you multiply it, you fall short of the actual said curvature. Jason, why don't you explain it a little better? I know I'm kind of tripping on it, but it's just insane what he's trying to say.
Yeah, well, we're just about to get to that section.
Okay, I'll be quiet. Keep going.
As we build these Home Depots, level, level, level. How about, oops, sorry, accidentally grabbed that. How about this? We got 2 football fields, 660 feet. How much curvature is there? 1/8 inch. That's 2 nickels stacked on top of each other. For every 660 feet, the curvature of the earth is 2 nickels. So,
All right.
What?
Did you catch that, everybody?
So every 660 feet, he's saying it's the thickness of 2 nickels laying down.
All right, let's get the calculator out and have a little bit of fun here. If we've got a mile, 5,280 feet, and we divide that by 660, guess how many times it's going to go into 1 mile? 8 times.
Wow.
All right. So he's saying every 660 feet, there is 1/8 inch of curvature, which means in 1 mile, there would be 1 inch of curvature.
Uh-oh.
Right? 1/8, 8 times
Uh-oh.
is 1 inch. So Jaron is literally saying that there's only 1 inch of curvature in a mile.
That is so ridiculous. So again, what we've been saying is 8 years ago, Jason and myself, both separately, not knowing each other, had podcasts. I had a podcast with Jaron and showed him that the sun rises south of east and sets south of west, south of the equator, debunking the circling sun on the AE map 8 years ago. Jason had an interview with him and a meeting on, was it Skype? I was using Skype back then. A call with DITRH and Jaron. First, you spoke with David Weiss, right? And then David said, "Oh, I got to get Jaron on the call to hear this." And you were showing him the equinox, the 9270 rise set that's not curving, turning around a circle. So that debunked the AE map too. And so Jaron has been lying. He said coffee cup caustic. He built all the Joe Hanvey domes. Jaron came up with all of that. Jaron is the inventor of the false AE dome reality. So now what he's doing is he's gone back to his true belief that the earth is a globe. He was always trying to make flat earthers look stupid. He was the star in a hit piece called Behind the Curve, where he proved that there was curvature with a faulty, stupid experiment where the guy had a flashlight turned off, and then Jaron said he couldn't see it. And then when Jaron said, "Hold the flashlight above your head," the guy actually turned the flashlight on. And then he said, "Oh, that's interesting. I can see it now." And they said that was the exact amount of curvature. So here he is now as a globe earther. So either he is now flipped to actually believing the earth is flat, and he's gone over to the globe side to backhandedly, secretly sabotage them. So what he's doing is there's what we have been taught, which Jason's going to get into. Flat earthers have heard the formula 8 inches squared per mile, which creates a slope and a different type of a problem. So 8 inches squared per mile. Jaron's saying there's only, so if he says in 660 feet, he says there's 1/8 of an inch curvature. So he's saying you'd never see 2 football fields the thickness of 2 nickels lying down. You'd never see, you can't possibly imagine seeing that. He's now stating that Earth only has 1 inch squared per mile curvature. Do you guys have any idea at what size of a sphere ball Earth we would be living on if there was only 1/8 of an inch per mile of curvature? Do you have that figured out, Jason?
No, I haven't figured it out that way.
Well, next podcast, make sure you tune in.
All right. Well, I just want to bring this up. Most flat earthers have probably seen this. The first video that I watched about flat earth, the very first thing I did was I went searching for what's the curvature formula. That was literally the first thing I did. And this is the first one that I found that seemed to make any sense. And I actually found it at Eric Dubé's website. Now it's all over the place. But so this shows what's supposed to be geometric curvature, right? And then it has these numbers here. But if anybody's ever done the math, you'll actually see that the feet in inches right here is the 8 inches per mile squared. So if you look on this, can I make this any bigger? If you look at mile number 1, they have 8 inches. So
not one.
Jaren's already completely off in mile number 1, but we're going to show you all tonight that this 8 inches in the first mile is absolutely wrong. All right. So this 8 inches per mile squared is a formula that does not work at the short end of things, the first 1 through 100 miles. And then between 100 and 200 miles, the formula actually does get accurate for a while before it becomes extremely accurate between 2,000, 3,000, and the 3959. So this huge Earth that Jaren's always talking about, you would never see it, is only 3959 in radius, according to SPACEBALLERS. All right, this is a tiny, tiny radius where if you start at the North Pole and you go out 3959 miles, you have to be able to go directly down to an equator, 3959 miles. All right, so this 1/8 inch per mile thing that Jaren's promoting, he would never get ships disappearing.
No,
right? And
you'd be able to see them forever. I mean,
yeah,
till they were just a tiny little dot.
it's just an absurdity. So go ahead.
I mean, I'm trying to figure out the math. So if it's 8 inches squared per mile, what would 1 inch squared per mile calculate to if we did? Well, see, then it throws everything off. That's the problem that we have here. It's basically, it would be 8 times the size of Earth. So instead of Earth being, let me just do the math as you're pulling up the modeling here. Let me get my calculator. So it would be 8 and it's 3959. 3959. So the answer would be the radius of Earth would be 31,672. So, and then how to get that to the times that to get the actual circumference? What's the math calculations on that?
IR squared or
Oh, you're making it too complicated. But if
yeah.
but it'd be so the radius of Earth would be 31,672 at an 1/8 inch, at 8 inch per mile.
Yeah. So what I want to show everybody here is we're going to do live a 3D model of Earth to scale. So I'm pulling off the origin here, and this number out here, the 20,903,520, this is 3959 times 5,280, which is converting it to feet because SketchUp doesn't take miles. So we're going to type this in here.
Must be a
20.
Canadian program.
It does do metric too.
Damn Canucks.
So that is feet, and you'll see that when I back out here, I've made a really big circle, but it looks sort of jagged. So like Mark Sargent mentioned, drawing circles is one of the hardest things for a computer to do. So what I can do here is I can type 999S, and that is 999 segments.
Wow.
So I've smoothed out the circle by turning it into almost 1,000 segments. All right. So what I'm going to do here is, if this is Earth and this is the North Pole up here, this is the South Pole right here, we're going to be taking a look at things on the equator. So I'm going to take this line and draw it out here, the same direction, the same amount, so I get an exact point out on the rim of this circle. And now I'm going to zoom in as far as I possibly can here. And at this point, where it's the scale is jumping, what I'm going to do, the 1 mile, the 1 mile circle is the hardest one to do. As we have bigger circles, it'll be easier to do. But here I'm going to make a 5,280 foot radius around an observer at the equator. And what I have here is now if you have an observer right at the equator, this is 1 mile this way, 1 mile this way to the north and to the south. Now what I'm going to do is put a protractor down here at that point that I created. I'm coming off of my red axis. I'm swinging an angle 90 degrees. And now you'll see that if I try to zoom in here and see the difference between that dotted line and the one I just created, it starts to, like, I can't get close enough to actually get in there and measure it. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to back out and I'm going to delete our big circle over here. All that. And because the scale has changed, I'm going to be able to get in here closer and we can now measure difference.
There we go. Drill in. Zooming in like with our P1000. We got to,
you know what? I didn't add the segments. So let me go back here.
Command Z.
And yeah, I really want those segments to make it as accurate as possible. 5280 feet, 999 segments. That's smoothed out. Now we've got our protractor. We're swinging our 90-degree angle off the red axis. Now I've got to delete the rest of this over here. Now we'll get a much
go.
Better. All right, so here's our equator. We're 1 mile to the north, right here.
Yawning.
And so here's the curved line. And here's the dotted line, which is our tangent, right? So when we measure the distance from here to here, what you're going to see is that we've got about 16'7", 16'7" of drop in the first mile.
So hang on a second. I really want people to understand what we're showing. So actually taking a circle or the outside of a sphere, if you're dissecting it like a latitude, longitude, or latitude, either way, it works. So you wrap a rubber band around a ball, okay? And you make that ball the size of the Earth, right? The radius of 3959. And now we're zooming in on that ball and we're measuring the actual amount of curvature drop geometrically. We're not using any mathematical magic tricks or card tricks like a Red's rhetoric or Jeranism is going to use. Jason is literally showing you the actual drop that would be needed on a circle that was the size of the supposed Earth. And we're not getting an inch. Jaren's saying there's only an inch in a mile, right? The other math is saying that there's 8 inches squared per mile. Jason's saying that there's literally, measurably, and anybody that's tuning in, go ahead, QNFE or anyone else that uses modeling programs. Who else is back on the scene now? Dr. Zach. You've got Space Audits. You've got Shane St. Pierre. Go ahead, do this calculation, do the measurements, and you're going to see it's roughly 16, almost, because you could round up 17 feet of drop. So
yeah,
this is a huge difference of what Jaren is saying with an 1/8 of an inch over 1 inch per mile. This is 16.5, almost 17 feet.
Yeah, because here's 5,280 feet. Here is 1 mile here to the north of the equator in our model. This blue dot here is a midpoint. At a midpoint right here, we've got.
So this is half mile.
Half mile. We've got close to 9 feet.
9 feet drop. You definitely, okay. We can go to any beach along any body of water, a lake. If you make a pool that's a half mile in length, a surfing pool, you are going to be able to calculate and measure how it was 9 feet. Like, do people understand? Listen, it blows my mind. You've got somebody like Jaren coming around telling people to shut the fuck up. That's how he literally talks to his viewers. The Earth is a ball. He literally says that you can go out and prove, you can just see. He says you can just observe that Earth is a ball. Listen, Jaron, you shut the fuck up. If you can go out and show us 16 feet drop in 1 mile, we'll happily start teaching that the Earth is a globe. Jason and I don't care. Jaron made an asinine remark on his podcast today saying that no flat earther will tell you if they're shown evidence of a sphere that they'll flip. Yeah, absolutely. If you show us curvature and we can verify it and retest it, we will absolutely say, yeah, I guess we live on a sphere, right? Everything we've ever seen, tested, measured, filmed, and verified has shown us that we live on a flat plane with all of the luminaries rotating around each observer. And that's why we tell people that you're actually in a virtual reality. And I know, Jason, I'm going to let you go. This is my last part of my rant here. I know that it's hard for somebody to break outside of the globe, sphere, earth box that you've been put in, the whole physical reality. I know it's hard to even fathom, to even just for a moment grasp the idea that the creation that you're in is something much, much different than what you've been told. Okay. And I know it's going to take a while. It's almost been a decade for Jason and I doing this, and we're still learning. So just take heart, don't worry. And people are going to start to understand that they don't live on a flying space ball, because there absolutely would be the evidence everywhere.
Absolutely. So line number 1 here, mile number 1, the 8 inches per mile squared. It's not 8 inches in the first mile, everybody. It's over 16 feet, over 16 feet in the first mile. So let's go ahead and do this at 10 miles here so that people can just see this over and over again. We'll start with a...
This is not what Jaron's going to do either. He just says it's the thickness of 2 nickels. He doesn't even say it like that. He doesn't even articulate his words careful enough. Everything that he says is, he's always confused. Oh, hold on, I got that wrong. Let me see. Oh, let me get this corrected right here. Oh, sorry about that, everybody. And again, if you do the research, you'll find out that the tactics of the Tavistock and the CIA and the different disinformation agents, what they do is they get your mind confused. They get you falling down like a snake skiboarding down a slope into a pool of water. And then they'll tell you that, Earth is evoluting. We're all going through evolution. After they say a bunch of stupid stuff, they'll come through with the implantable thought to catch your mind. You have to, people tuning in right now, make sure you're focused and paying attention on this. And the other thing is too, that you can see these characters with these toxic energy. They get verified, they get pushed, they get all the people tuning in, they get all the bots in the chat. And what you need to understand is this, because they're absolutely polluting the minds of the creation. They are literal viruses that are allowed to do what they do, because soon enough, they're going to be the reason that it's never going to be allowed again.
All right. So we've got our setup again. This is North Pole, South Pole, the equator right here. And now do you want to do 10 miles, 10 miles?
Let's do 10. 20 is a bit far. Yeah. Let's keep it because we can actually go out with our cameras up to about 10 miles locally. Now, the larger an object is in reality, the further away you can see it. The higher it stands, the further away. So the longest and highest object that we have on Earth is Mount Everest. And we've already shown that Kathmandu was filmed from Kathmandu. It's roughly 120 miles, correct? And so that has the largest circle of sight, or viewable circle of sight. So 10 miles is something that we can all go out and verify. Okay. And when I'm saying to you that you zoom in on a building 10 miles away and you're missing part of it, that has to do with the vanishing point. Okay. You're going to get disinformation agents like Red's retarded, and he's going to tell you that mathematical magic, the curvature of the Earth is blocking that. But what they won't tell you is that that building would therefore be leaning backwards. You'd be able to discern it. So everyone can go out and measure 10 miles, right? And you should be able to actually calculate this. You should be able to say, here it is, Ron, here's the curvature.
So I made the whole Earth. This circle right here, 52,800, that would be 10 miles. And now because the scale's a little bit larger, I can actually zoom in here.
Yeah.
And we don't have to delete the rest of the model to see this. But coming off this point here,
we're getting a lot. Was that 80 feet?
Let me see here. It's still a little hard to get. 166 feet.
Wow.
And a half inch.
So we could easily go and film a building that's roughly 166 feet. And if the whole building's not gone, we don't live on Earth that's with a radius of 3959. It's that easy to debunk Jaren's globe Earth.
So here, if you look at this calculation, 10 miles, they say 66.68 feet, right? So it's 100 feet off. I'm trying to get the point across to everybody. Mile number 1, 8 inches compared to 16 and a half feet, right? 10 miles, they're saying 66.68 feet compared to 166 feet and a half inch, right? There's the discrepancies are there, but they actually start to close the gap as we go farther and farther till we get out to about the 100-mile mark when they start actually getting close.
Yeah.
So everything that we're doing right here, this right here is real geometry. And yes, AutoCAD will do a better job than SketchUp for sure. This is only doing 1,000 segments, right? So AutoCAD's going to be able to do more than that. But so now that we can actually, we don't have to keep building this over and over. Let's go to 20 miles. So 20 miles, I need to do the math quick. 20 times 5, 280. Or I need 105,000 feet, 600.
Anybody can do this too. Anybody can verify this. Anyone could do these measurements. It's simple geometry. You just need a calculator and a type of a program. You could even draw this with a protractor and a compass and a square. The Freemasons should be all over this, saying, "Hey, wait a minute, the Earth is not measuring correctly." Well, you know what? They are all over it, and what they're doing is disinforming you with the 8 inches per mile squared formula, or Jaren's new 1 inch per mile curvature, to prove that you'd never be able to tell how many Home Depots could you fit into a mile. How many hamburgers can you fit into a pop can, right? While skiing down a hill as a snake. Unfortunately, the Earth is stationary and flat, Jaren, and it's never going to change. Okay. And if it does, we'll be the first ones to say we measured it and it's true. And until then, Jaren, you need to turn your channel off. I mean, we called you out over 8 years ago, and here you are still going, I don't like this number. Take it away.
So at 20 miles here, we're at 332 feet, 1 inch of curvature. And on here, we're at 266.74. You see how
it's closing the gap.
It's closing the gap. Let's make our next jump out to, you want to go to 125 miles, the farthest thing that anything's ever been observed on Earth, Mount Everest from Kathmandu. So let's go 125 miles times 5, 280. There's our circle we're going to have to make. So we'll come back to our origin. 660,000 feet. We'll turn that into 199 segments. Now, come in here and measure.
Survey says.
Measure that drop, and we've got 10,427 feet. Okay. So if we go back to this, it's got it at 6,669 feet. Right, but our gap is closing. Let's go ahead and go to 200 miles here. So 200.
What was that
52.
last number? 1 second. It's 5280, right?
Yeah.
Times, what did you say that divided by? What was that last number that you said? It was 10,000.
Yeah, this is.
I'm just wanting to get the math here for how much of the mountain should be missing.
Yeah, 10,427 feet.
427 divided by 5280.
Yeah, it's just under 2 miles.
So, I mean, how many miles high is Mount Everest?
Well, 30,000 divided by 5280. is what?
Well, I mean, it's almost 2 miles.
Yeah, it's almost 2 miles.
Okay.
Of that's supposed to be drop.
Drop.
There.
And then the top part of the mountain should be drastically leaning away. We're looking at those tangent lines right there that Jason's measuring. That would also be the lean. You can see the lines.
Now we're going to 200 miles. And that is 1,056,000 feet. 999 segments. And so at 200 miles here, you're going to see 26,688 feet. So this was 200 miles. So to 26,000, let's go ahead and convert that. So we've got 26,686 divided by 5,280. We've got 5.05 miles. So now you can see that the 200 and all of a sudden it's like on. The 8 inches per mile square is working now, where it's 5 miles of curvature at 200 miles, geometrically speaking. And so let's talk about the problem with the formula here is that the formula has to go from, if you go 3,959 miles, it has to give you 3,959 miles as the result. So let's bring the calculator back over here, and I'm going to show everybody that 3,959 squared. So 8 inches per mile squared. The miles squared, here's the squared, times 8. This is the amount of inches. So you can divide this by 12. And there's your feet, and divide that by 5,280. And there's your miles. And so our 8 inches per mile squared, when we started with 3,959, our answer came out at 1979.
Whoops.
Instead of giving us 3,959 like it has to. So this 8 inches per mile squared only works in about the 100 to 200 foot mile range. And we've shown that geometrically, the curvature in mile number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 100 is drastically way off of what actual geometry shows. It's not 8 inches per mile in the first mile. It's not.
Let alone Jaron saying it's 1 inch.
And if we go back to our 1 mile, this, remember we started, in order to be able to zoom in here and get this measurement, we had to get rid of the rest of the geometry. But we got, it's hard to get the, here's 16'4".
That's it. I mean, great job, Jason. So what we're showing, this will be I guess we'll maybe move on after this, but I want everybody to understand that 1 mile geometrically measured in a modeling program with the Earth's curve, the radius of 3,959, which is the supposed size of the Earth, you should have 16 feet, right? Not an eighth, 1 inch. Jaron is saying 1 inch compared to 16 feet. It's interesting how he's flipping. Usually he's the other way around with everything, but now Jaron's making everything really, really teeny tiny. Size doesn't matter anymore to Jaron, huh?
I guess not. Yeah. So I think it's groundbreaking, revolutionary stuff to let people know that 8 inches per mile squared it's just a bad formula. You have to actually look at this geometrically. do it in something like SketchUp or an AutoCAD, and check it for yourself. You'll see that the actual amount of curvature in mile number 1 is going to be over 16 feet. And then if you do something like the 125 miles, you'll see that you need to have like 83 feet of drop per mile.
It's crazy.
83 feet of drop per mile. Do you think you would see 83 feet of drop per mile?
Absolutely. Yes, you could measure that. You'd be able to tell you were on a sphere, right? And you'll get guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson saying the same thing as Jezzy Jaron, that Earth is way too big. You just can't see. That stuff is flat, right? They'll say, that stuff is flat. So it's just a great presentation, Jason. I think you've dialed it in. You've nailed it. We can see the different sizes, the different measurements, the angles, the tangent. It's the rest is up to Jezzy Jaron and Red's Retarded and MC Toon and Craig or Cyman Dan. You know, how come Cyman Dan's never done a video exposing us, Jason? Why do you think that is?
No, they can't risk people finding out that we actually know what we're talking about and that we have a working model
are we going to be
to a 100th of a degree per second anywhere on Earth any day of the year.
Yeah, and are we going to be dirtballs of the week or no? You know, never. Jaron's never going to say our names except for, oh yeah, Jason and Ram are right about everything that they said, including me flipping, and I always was a globe believer. He's not going to say that. It's like NASA's going to come out and say, yeah, we're faking space to perpetuate evolution so that atheism can be born and everybody can sin. I mean, no one is ever going to come out and admit any of it. And the proof is that we're the most censored on YouTube. I literally have been kicked off of YouTube. I can't even sign in on Google anymore. I've got to use Brave. I need, hopefully when I get a new computer, they'll let me back on. It's great. I've been kicked off of Google. Google is the one that's banned me. And why? Because I speak the truth and I'm not out here trying to make money. But let's do the song break, Jason, and get into the whole pyramids when we get back. You're not going to want to miss this.
Just now, there's nothing left
You're now tuned into the Team Yahushai News Networks, and that was the brand new tune from Black Map, and that was their brand new hit song, Badlands. Let's get back into this and some more Badland news. Going underground, experts clash over quote unquote hidden city beneath Egyptian pyramids. You heard that right.
Here's some nonsense. You've looked into it more than I have, but they're claiming radar images shows this.
Yeah, some kind of LiDAR or radar. LiDAR would be a better way to say it. So they're saying there are these, what do they got? 13 columns, right? Go figure they choose. Oh no, 17. I don't know. So
19, 20. Yeah. So this right here looks like a coil bed spring.
A spring from a bed, right?
Yeah.
So what's funny is that LiDAR and radar can only penetrate something like 600 feet. They're saying these are like a mile down. Let's keep going. Does it say anything in the article? Radar pulses from a satellite.
So look at the houses that they have built up here. What do you think they're doing with that?
Those are the supposed chambers inside the pyramids, right? Those are the kings, queens, hands, hounds. They're chambers, right? So here's the picture supposedly that they're constructing this new groundbreaking penetrating radar systems. In a similar vein, Egyptian archaeologists Hawass told the National that the researchers were completely wrong, though, and argued their so-called discovery lacks any scientific basis. So it's funny because they're just making this stuff up. So they've been using the quote-unquote wonders of the world for about 150 years, okay, to fool people, to cause... Again, all of these are to perpetuate evolution, right? These are, you have them in Machu Picchu. You have, what in South America, you've got one of the eighth. If you go and you research all eighth wonder of the world, what you're going to find is they're Roman hoaxes. They're modern day, not that long ago creations that are being used to try to perpetuate an ancient lie.
Freemason theme parks.
Freemason theme park. Exactly. You nailed it. So they're basically saying that, that the iconic structure is believed to have been built 4,500 years ago. Like, do you know how ridiculous that is, you guys tuning in right now? It's an absolute joke. What's the next link we got? They've got this new CGI video here we're going to watch. Check this out. This is what they got here. This is them supposedly doing the experiment. No, this is just an AI video that they've made up. This is just nonsense. Look at this.
Whoa, look at it. It's a power structure.
Yeah, they're all power plants.
Free energy.
Humans could fly. Yeah, free. Everybody had electricity in their houses when they had these pyramids lit up, right? Supposedly.
Look at these suits that the guys wear.
It's CGI. It's not real. It's AI.
Even when it's not CGI, they always put on these like
hazmat suits.
Hazmat, yeah.
For radioactivity. Right? It's so ridiculous. Okay, let's go through the video. Let's show you the truth. I don't know. We haven't shown this in a long time. But let's show everybody the truth about the Freemasonic sandcastles that they made. Okay, I did a video ago, a long time. There was a few people that put no trees on flat Earth. 8 years ago. I had it up on my channel. It had like 20,000 views or more. Jason, he put it up as a back just to have it uploaded again. Thankfully he did, because they took my channel down. It says the revelation of the pyramids takes an in-depth look into one of the 7 wonders of the world, the Great Pyramids of Egypt. And so what we're actually telling you is that these are just sandcastles. So if we click through the video, Jay, we'll get into showing everybody what's going on here. So there's a clip here. So they're also showing a bunch of other ancient structures in Rome and other places that tie into this. But if we go ahead here, we'll clip in and I'll tell you where to stop. This is ISIS destroying all of the fakes, destroying all the evidence that these things. So you went a little too far. Okay. There's an original clip here with an archaeologist, a Russian guy smashing one of the rocks. I want to start there. Go back. Keep scrolling. Not there. Keep going. You jumped right by it. It's key. Keep going. It's almost right off the start. He right here. So this is the evidence. We'll play this. Let everybody see. A couple clicks before.
Before?
Yeah. This is the end of the clip. So we're at the bottom of the pyramids here, and he's investigating one of the blocks. So there's a bunch of blocks that are just thrown around, and he's gonna investigate it. This Russian guy. Watch this. In fact, it is not the natural stone, he's saying, because we were told that these were so it's polymer. It's concrete, formed concrete. He's saying that they've smeared a layer of mixed of granite and polymer order on top of the stone. And the skin is peeling.
Plaster finish.
It's plastered, stuccoed. And he smashes the outer layer of the stucco off, and what we see is that it's just sand. They're just sand blocks. Okay? And that's why they're all falling apart. We're going to get to that as we click through the video. So it's key to show that the ancient granite stones supposedly are sand blocks with a granite smeared stucco finish.
He can dig it apart with his fingertip.
He said it's geopolymer concrete. And, you know, how did they do it? The people of the thousands of years, no, they had to float them down the Nile River. No, they took sand and limestone and they made forms and they made the rocks. They piled the sand up and then they just made blocks on the outside of the sand and then took some of the sand out from the inside. That's how they made the pyramids, everybody. Ta-da! Let's go through this here.
They say that we don't have the tech now to make them,
yeah,
right?
We don't have the tech now. Look at this clip. Like everything that you can see here, here's some evidence of some matting. I know the good parts where we're going to get you to click through starts at 16 minutes, but if you just click through here to the right arrow before you go any further, I want to show people the evidence of the matting. So you, being a concrete guy, actually have a good understanding of the way that concrete is formed, but you didn't hit to the right arrow, or is it frozen?
What do you mean right arrow?
So you can use left and right arrows to move through a video on YouTube. It's how you click through there. Thank you. Edge of the blocks, a clear corner form it was made formwork frame, and we can clearly see the weave texture. So you can clearly see that these blocks were all formed. Like they put them into a die, a cast, and they formed them. So you can just click through with your right arrow, Jason. We can just go through these and show people the evidence here. It's crazy that they're trying to say that these things are like, 5,000 years old, before the flood even.
Like near perfect.
And so again, we're getting other things that Rome did, because Rome is involved in everything here. The Romans went around and built all these stupid sandcastles to trick the world, right? To cast doubt and create evolution, really. Again, you're seeing more form work, the way that they created all these megalithic type structures. You can see the same things, and all of them, they leave their footprint in the actual building of the blocks. Some of these channels and canals, you'll see how they stamped the supposed ancient hieroglyphs. You can see how these are some other columns on the left that were all formed and put together.
1934.
That's definitely not ancient. So scientists are still scared to open up the secret sacral corpses or whatever. He's talking about the ancient tunnels. Priests will be entrusted to open it. Politicians, who knows? And keep clicking through. You'll see they've got channels where they've run lights. So ancient Roman, insert brain here. Look at this steel bookmark in the hewn ancient Roman architecture. So like you can't have a steel column piece where you attach there inserted. Like it's just asinine for people to think that they didn't create forms and pour all this, right? All these are evidence of pores forming. Here's the great stone of Baalbek, which you have characters like Rob Skiba that said the giants were actually the ones doing this. And actually what this was a test. So they created the form, and down below they made a test. So you can see that there's matting issues. It was casted precisely in the place and is in form in which it stands now on a sloping site, unevenly, and you can see unevenly that it's formed. You can see how the discoloration and the way that the concrete is breaking off on the left there. You see that area right there. That shows you the types of things that happen when you do form work. You can see the unevenness in the pour, because to pour a giant stone like this, you're going to get different mixtures of concrete, right? You can clip through
Yeah,
it.
and it's a lot of pressure, and it's going to want to bow the forms out.
Exactly. Right. Here's more evidence of that right there, where it got loose. It faced a problem. Bottom of this rock is problematic, it says, due to physics. Natural gaps appear. Right. We can see that slots from timbers and beams from where they had the formwork all put together. It's clearly too easy to see this, but these are the ancient aliens did it with magical laser weapons, right? Let's keep going through. It gets better after the 16-minute mark. So here we got more sites in Egypt where they supposedly discovered these things, where they actually show you them building it. It's not even that tree that he's pointing out there, that that tree was, so they said that they dug all this structure that you're looking at. They said they dug that out of miles of sand, or whatever, half a mile of sand. But they dug the tree out of the sand too. I mean,
yeah, it's perfectly fossilized and still living.
Still living underneath the sand, everybody. These clowns forgot to remove the beams which the ancient pillars were sat on. They had all the formwork still up there. Here's all the work, the pile of beams that they had used to make all the forms right there on the left. You can even see, like, it's not even hard to see what they've done. And was that a mixer? Concrete mixer right there?
This is the way they used to do it back before the flood, right?
Yeah. You mean
everybody says the pyramids are pre-flood?
No. This is
no.
They got here. Work is not standing on one place. Sand was brought, but the banks for solution, scaffolding, and frameworks have not even been removed yet. They're saying that they're digging it out. You could see the scaffolding still all around the structures. This is hilarious that people think that these pyramids are some super special. We can click through it. We're about to start to get into the good part. So here you start to get some of the ancient Egyptian stuff. They're just Roman. They're Roman replicas that they made. And see, you got the train tracks there. That's how they move all the material. They moved all this stuff into place on those carts right there. They needed to move all the blocks and everything. And that's how they've done it. You can literally see them moving a rock on the cart right now in the picture. I mean,
right?
It's so hilarious. A plain truth, yeah, they do have that honeycomb type pattern to the form. Click through. We're almost to the good parts. Then the second half, it really starts to show you the ridiculousness of this hoax scam. So yeah, all those hieroglyphs that you get told, there's more of these carts. Ancient Egyptians right there with their tarps. And here, if we look closely,
the builders of the pyramids right here.
Yeah, you can start to see how they were doing it all, right? With these forms and some stonework. It's great that they were able to do it. Here you can see that the structure of the Sphinx, or that was the Pharaoh being built.
Look at this garbage construction. Freemasons should
it's gross.
Not be allowed to build anything.
It's really gross. 1875. This one here, another same thing again with this nasty work that they do. Someone's going to say that's mud flood. So here we go. We're getting into some of the good stuff. So this is them deassembling, taking down those statues because they were saying that they were going to be covered in water, right? And what we actually have is them literally taking it apart like Lego, showing that it was put together like Lego, designed and formed in casts, right? You can see here.
Pretty obvious.
We're going to hit play soon on one of these clips. You're going to see people cutting the supposed granite stone with a wood saw. Lego removed 1964 and 68. They were doing the deconstruction because the flooding of the reservoir, because of power plant that they were building. They had to move this stuff because it was going to be underwater. You could literally see them taking it apart block by block. It's
like their most sacred things, right?
It's supposed to be like 5,000 years old. Here they are just taking it out in Lego blocks, the exact same way that they put it together with that.
It's got all the iron bars in it.
Yeah, the beams and everything that they're using to lower it and raise it. Look carefully, this deconstruction of the separate pieces. It was not a cut section of the edge or even close. They are deconstructing the hewn statue like Lego blocks. Come on, everybody. Like, you think that there's columns for 5,000 years ago underneath these pyramids? And I'm telling you that they just made these in a Freemason museum. This was the greatest thing they could do back then. Here we go. Hit play. Look at this.
In the mid 1800s.
You think these are granite stones? Watch this. Look at these guys.
Pole saw.
They got to pull like a wood saw to cut down a tree. They're going to cut through 5,000-year-old granite that the aliens had to use special laser weapons to create, right? Look at the blade on that. Look at the blade on that. They're cutting it apart because it's sand. It's sand and lime and water, and it's a very light lime. It's not even anywhere near today's modern.
Look at how gently he's just lightly sliding it back and forth.
You shouldn't be able to cut apart granite like that. Click to the right. They're just mocking it. Roman priest stuff, Catholic. Here we go. Click here, play. I think it's hilarious. Look. He's running. Look at this guy. He's smoking while cutting it. Look at this guy. Cutting rock, you guys. Cutting rock.
That's how they built it.
Look at this guy laughing. Look at this. That's a 5,000-year-old granite stone, right? Hilarious. This guy's laughing, watch. Look at him. He's taking
Make
it
me some
serious.
pyramids.
So now we're going to get into some more evidence of how they built the supposed Sphinx. And so in the early photos, are clearly visible separate layers, so you can see how it was poured. So when you look at the layers, they're not from water erosion, right? See on the Sphinx, see how there's a layer, then another layer, then another layer. Those are the different sections of forms that they use to make these. And look at how horrible the formwork is. You can even see at the bottom, they got bricks. They started with some blocks. And then
I'm saying don't hire a Freemason to do anything.
Or Romans,
crap
right?
work.
So let's keep clicking through. This is getting into the juicy part here. You can clearly see that that's really bad porous pouring. It's just really bad concrete work. Just horrible. The whole thing. They couldn't even get a face, right? They couldn't even do the face. They just had to make it look all mangled. Oh, it chiseled off, right?
Garbage.
You can see the blocks that they put up. Clearly, what material is made of. It's not solid rock. It's just sand and polymer. Get the camels there. Here's some of the digging tools you could see. Here's them with the actual scaffolding around where they had it formed. You can literally see the progression of it. Let's keep clicking through. We're starting to get into the good stuff here. So here, back one. So here what you have is a clear evidence that this rock was formed and poured. And then what you had was a rubber stamp that was able to be applied so that it could go around the corner, right? You don't chisel around a corner like that. You can clearly see the emboss has gone to the other face of the stone, which is clear that the form of overprints of ancient Egyptians was flexible rubber, the seal that they stuck into this thing.
Yeah, like stamped concrete.
Stamped concrete. That's all it is. Hilarious what these clowns have done. So here we're looking at a nasty picture of the pyramids. Okay, we're getting to the good stuff here.
Yeah, dangerous. They don't even let you near them now, right?
Can't go anywhere near these. There's it's all gated and fenced off, and the yellow tape. I was going to read it, but
yeah, sure.
It says here, whole areas, stripes and belts of the outdoor layer of the blocks falling inside. It is evident to anyone nearby and seen from a distance and a side light that the reason there is no millions of blocks weighing millions of tons, there is an ordinary natural sand. So-called Egyptians, almost every pyramid is an absolute hoax. Click to the side. These things are just junk. It's just sand. It's just falling apart.
Here they're showing more of those rail systems that are inside it that were obviously cast into it while they were building it. Completely debunking. There's rebar. If you can see, they've got rebar in here. In Wonderland, they've got a whole mountain that's made like this in Canada's Wonderland in Toronto. Here you can see more evidence of it just falling apart, the forms in the sand. So these are supposedly granite stones that were somehow magically transported there, right? They said, oh, we flew them on the Nile. You can clearly see the evidence. It's just falling apart. And it's not square. They're not tight. They're not put together nicely. It's just really bad. It's dangerous. You can't go anywhere near these things. You can see they're trying to patch it here. If you go back a click, if you look closely at these frames, what you see is they overlaid it with stucco, with like cement, trying to patch it from falling apart. They're just falling apart. And they're not even like, I would say not even 200 years old. No way. Not even 200 years. More evidence of formwork. These holes, all the notches were put into the forms. They were formed that way so that they could be hoisted and moved. Here you have a piece of steel embedded in the ancient granite, somehow poured around. Was that mud flood? Oh, they melted it.
Pre-flood.
They melted that.
Plasma.
That's a plasma mud flood evidence. Again, you've got all the evidence of the formwork again and how the different blocks were put together.
Nothing perfect. Everybody's been told, oh yeah, you can't even like
stick a piece of paper,
paper or human hair through these cracks.
Oh no, you can. And the ones that you can't is because they were formed without seams. More erosion, more signs of it falling apart. There you can see the different blades. Look at how bad this is. Just look at that.
A roofer and you had like shingle lines like this.
You're not getting paid. I mean, someone's
not getting paid.
Someone's going to say you're not getting paid. I mean, it's just because it's sinking in the sand. It's a sandcastle, right?
These are the bricklayers, the Freemasons. Get out of here.
That's who it is. Look at this picture. Look at how crap these look. You never see this. Everyone, like, you're not seeing any of this on the news.
This stuff is just falling down the side here.
Yeah, it just tumbled off. Look at how bad that is.
Oof, that was all gold, right?
No. And then platinum. And when they fired it up, a purple light would blast off into the sky and everybody would tingle and feel the energy all around and they could just turn on light bulbs everywhere.
That's where all the free energy came, right?
Yeah,
there.
Free energy. And the gold capstone is missing. It's on the dollar bill now, right? These are just junk. Look at this. If you zoom in on that, zoom in on this one. That's a better picture. Look at so they've had to go up. I don't even know how they got the concrete up there. Probably some kind of a crane system. But you can see they've tried to construct beams and
shore it up.
They tried to shore up different parts because it was wanting to fall down. Like you can't go anywhere near this. You'll get killed. Like there's a good chance that the stones just fall down all the time from these things. People going around saying they were ancient power plants.
This whole corner came off over here.
Yeah, it's bad. That top part is, I don't know. This was old too. I wonder how bad it is now.
This whole corner could slide.
Oh yeah, it's disastrous. I wouldn't go up there to shore it up. Look at this.
See, without this right here, this whole corner could come down.
This is an ancient 5,000-year-old superstructure. Is that what you're telling me we're looking at here?
Wonder of the world. Wonder who believes that it's more than 150 years old.
Look at this work. Because all the shoring and bricks that they put on.
Oh, there's the real granite right there.
That's the real stucco. Now we're going to get to that. Keep clicking. We're not done. All formwork, all molded and poured. You can see the evidence of it. See, hold on right there. So what? Go back. So what it looks like, you'd think is granite. On the right, you look up the corner. Oh, that looks like nice granite. But then just underneath that layer of granite, what you see is sand. I mean,
yeah, just that surface texture.
It's stuccoed. Look at that part. That's coming down. That's falling apart, everybody. That's That's definitely not
bad.
some ancient, wonderful granite. So if they were really ancient, it would have to actually be granite. The fact that they use sand and barely any lime, they were too lazy to bring enough lime to make the rock hard enough because it would actually still be holding up.
They had bad mortar back then.
Yeah, they didn't
have
use
the-
enough lime, right? Or whatever glue or chemical they do now. The veneer finish is falling off here.
Yeah.
That was you could see a tuck was dragged, a tuck
You
point.
can see, the form.
You can see the wood slats that were creating the form across that. And then that you can really see the form there. I mean,
It's all formed,
I'm
and this
sorry
is
if-
falling.
yeah. I'm sorry if people wanted to believe that this was some ancient special alien built. It's not. It was a bunch of
Poor
Freemasons.
Chris Geo, right?
Yeah. He went there. He got high, did some ayahuasca in the chamber. You can check that out on his channel. Truth Frequency Radio. Oh, they got bats in there. And here you can see
That's-
again, they got columns and beams. And so this is a 5,000-year-old beam.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Look at this. So these were helped to build the pyramids. These were the ways that they actually built the forms. Those were the beams. Behold, now you see the most beautiful, superior thing that human has ever seen before. Look at this pyramid.
Wow. So magical.
It really fell apart. So here we go. Hit play.
И снаружи он был обмазан
Smeared with a layer of
более качественного
composition.
состава, ну, по крайней мере, состава, который немножко отличался
But this layer is
от состава
different from the
внутреннего.
inside layer.
Из-за этого возникла такая неоднородность.
diversity and texture along
Вдоль
the surface.
поверхности и слезает кожа. Вот
The skin is
давайте
peeling off.
посмотрим, что под этой кожей находится.
Let's see what's inside.
Песочек.
Sand.
Видно, что здесь
Sand.
находится песочек.
So,
Это не
Sand.
гранит,
it's not granite.
это геополимерный бетон.
Geopolymer concrete.
Кстати, следы обсыновки
And
можно
so he was-
увидеть не только на блоках.
So he was right at the bottom of the pyramids, and it can be easily seen here only that the blocks of the pyramids, that like you can see, they keep playing it.
Здесь находится камень, несущий в себе явные
Here lays
следы
the stone that
бетонного
shows the evidence of the
происхождения,
usage
остатки
of the
тростниковой
concrete.
циновки, вмороженной в камень.
Remnants of the matting on the
Эта
surface.
пирамида составлена из блоков,
The pyramids is made of
покрыты
blocks,
твердой коркой, а внутренний
which are
состав
coated with
существенно
hard
мягче. Для
crust
естественных
and a
камней
soft
такого не
interior
бывает.
compound.
А вот для бетонных
Natural
блоков
stone,
это
this
очень
doesn't
естественно,
happen.
потому что
But for the concrete blocks, because of the
того, чтобы
construction
сделать
of the block,
блок, могли использовать более
could be
дешевый
used
состав
cheap
для
compounds for the internal
блока и
part.
более дорогой, более крепкий для
And there's
того,
more
чтобы
expensive
сделать
and rugged
поверхность.
for the outer
Можно
surface.
рукой вот его
Here it can be broken.
разломать просто рукой. Это
Basically
внутри
broken by
дупла,
my
это
hand.
внутренний состав камня. Если же мы попробуем повредить
If we try to damage
вот
the
эту
external
корку,
structure,
внешний состав, то тут не может быть и речи о том,
it
чтобы
cannot be done by hand.
разбить его рукой.
What about the whole other world? So then we go into different parts of Asia, China. They've done this everywhere. They've really done this everywhere. All the different structures. You can see the sand, right? You see all that sand? Here we got, this is in Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
You can see the same thing. So pause it. So this is the place where people say, perfect spot. People say, oh, these are the most amazing ever granite walls that were ever built. And they were done so well that they didn't even need mortar, right? So what you understand is they were literally formed. They were concrete blocks poured, and then they used an outer layer surface. This one might have been a little bit newer. And I theorized that they built this the same time they did the Panama Canal. They took the same cranes and what do they call that? Like they move trees around. They erect a long cable, and then they can actually move the material quite easily. And I think that's how they got
But-
these up there.
Clearly, they didn't put the right drainage in behind these walls because they're pushing over. right?
Yeah. You got to put the
Making
drainage.
retaining walls is serious business. You got to have the right drainage,
Yep.
otherwise it'll just push over.
Yeah, you got to start with quite a bit of crushed granite, right? And then you have to put the felt paper behind the stones. It's a very serious problem. I've actually built some walls like this myself, personally. But with real rock, with real armor stone, not formed concrete blocks. Look at this mess. This whole thing is a disaster. Everywhere you look, you start to see the same. This is an ancient Roman statue, right? Supposedly like 5,000 years old too. Everything that they tell you guys is just nonsense. They're all Freemason hoaxes. Makes me laugh. It really does. It's all right. If people want to believe in that stuff, go ahead.
Got
Stonehenge.
moved and reassembled. It's supposed to be so perfectly aligned,
Yeah.
right?
5,000 years old too, or 20,000. Who knows? Like you can see here, they show pictures of it, right? There they are actually building it. You can see here, pause it. You're not allowed to go near the Stonehenges. They'll give you a big fine. Because you can see it's the same people who built the pyramids. They did the exact same thing. They took a cheap inner layer of a stone and then they formed around it. You can literally see inside the stone there.
Mhm.
It's right there, everybody. Like you can see. Do a TikTok thing, like here they are building it. There's the crane. Absolute Truman Show. 100%. Look at this. These famous stones have stood here for over 3,000 years. They're literally installing them. Look. Get out of here with this nonsense. It's just like the pyramids. Same exact thing. Same people built it. Freemasons, the Romans, the Jesuits. And they had help from the Egyptians, from the Chinese, from the Mayans, from the people here in England. Or wherever this is. Where is Stonehenge? Someone tell me in the chat. Where's the actual location of it? It's on a ley
Somewhere
line,
in the
right?
UK.
In the UK, right? Here they are building it. They've stood for 3,000 years. This guy's standing them. He's putting that one on top. And they're using the same techniques that we saw they were using for the deconstruction of the different artifacts that had to get moved due to them building a power plant in Egypt. So don't be fooled in thinking there's some magical power plant beneath these sand castles, because they're just hoaxes, and they're there to perpetuate evolution, atheism, to take you away from being special, and that this place was created for you to grow and learn and to actually become a good person, and not to fall after these vain imaginations, these stupid stone. Like in this site here, what you have is, thank you, Wiltshire, England. So what you have here is you have a group of people who call themselves pagans, and they say, oh, we made this because we worship the earth. And you have a whole religion, paganism, that's centered around these hoaxes, props. And you'll see that over and over again. I knew it was England. I forgot that it was in Wiltshire. It's just nonsense. Here we got them building it. They filmed it all. That's supposedly an ancient granite stone there. You can see the inside of it. Here they are bringing them in. And what does NASA do? NASA does the same things with their quote-unquote rockets, too. They use the same equipment. This place is a big, absolute joke. But I'm grateful that we're able to come out here and show you guys what we find, and then let you decide on the other side of the screen which you want to believe. You could tell me, Jason and Ron, you guys are crazy, man. This is 3,000-year-old stones. These guys are they're just moving them. They're not building it, right?
That's what they say.
Right. Trust me, bro, they say to us. You guys trust what you want. I'm gonna stand with the truth until otherwise. Like, Jaron, if you want to prove to me that Earth is curving, I'll believe you. Go out with a water level and show me that there's that curvature. It's 16 feet per mile, not an 1 inch per mile. Sorry, Jezzy Jerry, your lies and disinformation don't work on me. Your spell has never worked on me. I showed you 8 years ago that everything that you were saying was a lie, and you continued to lie about it for 8 years, but now you're using our story, and continuing to lie to other people, but we see right through it. Here they are breaking through this ancient stone, right? Here they are painting it. You're not allowed to touch these stones too. If you go there, they say not to. There we go. Freemasonry, huh? They build their own history and rewrite theirs. You can just leave this ending on. I like this. I should probably do a re-up of this sometime.
Absolutely.
That's what we do around here. We trample on
come
the
to
serpent.
harmony through peace, light, and the true love Yahushai saves.
Oh, wow. Had the name almost right. Oh, damn. Beyond Flat Earth Productions. So yeah, everybody, that's like, it's up to you guys to believe what you want. I know what I'm going to go with.
I love the guys sawing the stone.
That was
with
the best part.
with the pull saw.
Oh, you was right there. You had it. You had it.
Did I?
Yeah, go back. More to the left. There you go. This part right here, yeah, these ancient 5,000-year-old granite stones. Get me the wood saw. What do you mean the wood saw? Yeah, I said, get me the wood saw. We're just going to cut them and move them over to that hill. The only way you could do this is if the blocks were made of sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sand and lime. It's just hilarious. The one guy guiding it, got to make sure it's a straight cut.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Yeah.
This was a great Flat Earth Friday. Thank you for your information, Jason, showing the curvature. We showed you geometrically that there's 16.7 feet per mile of drop, not 1 inch, Jezzy Jer. And hopefully maybe we'll be the dirt balls of the week next week, Jason. I keep my fingers crossed. I keep my fingers crossed that we get the call out. I'm more than happy. Jason and I are both willing to debate Jaron, MC Toon, Simon Dan, Professor Dave, any of you, Craig from Fight the Flat Earth, any of you guys want to debate, we're happy to take the debate on. I've been waiting. MC Toon said he wanted to debate us, but now he just thinks that you guys don't believe in anything real. Pac-Man, simulation.
Real.
That's all they say, right? We're happy to take a debate anytime, anywhere. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Jason, do you have anything to say?
Not really. Where's the only place people are going to get this content?
Only on the Yahushai News Networks.
Consequences of his actions. It makes me sick. Gotta have it. It makes no sense. When you talk